Hi, welcome everyone to the show Be the Messenger, Your Message Matter. I'm Vivian Zhao, and this is Lee Smith. Lee Smith went from the corner of her couch in a massive depression to become a two-time best Amazon seller ever and a winning awarding speaker. Transformed 20 pounds into massive energy, revitalized a dying marriage, and started a business all under 8 months. She is the living proof that you can live your best life. So, welcome to the show, Lee.
Thank
How
you.
are you doing?
Doing so much. Thank you so much, Vivian. I am doing fantastic. Great
So,
to be.
can you tell me more about what you do and why do you what you do?
I am as I said, and as you mentioned in the introduction, I faced a massive depression, and the depression came after fulfilling a lifelong dream of mine. When I was 14 years old, there was a seed planted in my heart that someday when I get married and I become a mom, I want to be a stay-at-home mom. And I was 30 when I got married, and my husband had been married before. So instantly I became a stepmom. And a year and a half later, we had a child together. She's now 18 and out of the house. So along the way of being this stay-at-home mom, which I loved doing, but I was caught in this endless cycle of getting up, taking care of the kids, making the breakfast, making the lunch, making the dinner, doing the groceries, scrubbing the floors and the toilets and all the things, right? And playing with the kids and reading to them and slinking into bed, only to get up and do it the next day and the next day and the next day. And while I loved so much of that journey, I didn't realize that 14, 15 years into it, I lost who I was. And then I was standing on the beach of Hawaii with my family on a Christmas holiday. And it was during the sunset. So the sun was setting on the ocean horizon. The waves were just lapping at our feet gently. And the salty air was there, and we were taking it in, just this gorgeous scenery, the sky in brilliant orange and pink and purple. It was amazing, right? But I couldn't feel the moment. I knew in my head I was having this scenery, this experience that so many people don't even get once in a lifetime. And here I was, but I was so lost, so empty, so numb. I was just existing in the day-to-day. I lost who I was. And I thought, why can't I feel this? And it was in that moment when I sat in that silence with that question, another question entered my mind. And it said, Lee, what does make you happy? I couldn't come up with an answer. And I said, this is not me. This is not who I am. Ever since I was a little girl, I love experiencing life. So how did I lose touch? And how do I get that back? And because it was the holiday and a new year was approaching, I said, enough is enough is enough. And I said, I'm going on a quest. I don't care how selfish it seems. I am going on a quest to figure out what makes me happy. And I chose the word laugh as my word for the year. And I said, I need to do what makes me laugh because I can't remember. Can you imagine life without laughter? It's so empty. And so I said, okay, well, first it started being on the corner of the couch because I was trying to fight off the feelings of depression. And I was watching reruns of Friends, and it's my favorite comedy show. And no matter how many times I watch it, it makes me laugh. And I said, okay, I can do that. And then there was a local theater group here that every Friday they did an improv show, and they were so talented that I knew if I went and watched them, I would laugh. And then I intentionally put people in my life, spent time with people I knew had an amazing sense of humor. And after months, this was no overnight thing. After months of doing this, I found my joy. And interestingly enough, when joy came to me, it too whispered to me like that question on the beach. And it said, "What do you want to do with me?" And when I looked at my life, and I've been in personal development for 25 plus years, studying the greats like Tony Robbins, Jim Rohn, Zig Ziglar, Jack Canfield, John Maxwell, so many of these wonderful leaders, and my most recent favorite mentor, Brendan Burchard. And I said, I can take all of these pieces that I've learned from all of them, combine my personal life lessons, and I can create something that, as I am transforming my life, I can transform someone else's life. And that is what has brought me into coaching and speaking. And now I am on a mission to transform as many lives as I can, those who resonate with me. And that's how I got here, Vivian.
And exactly what kind of coaching that do you offer? Like, you know, can you describe of like when people work with you, what would be the objective of the coaching session, and how do you transform them using your coaching? Is there a unique mechanism that you put together that people can actually, you know, go to the session and the life is being changed as you said?
Yes, absolutely. So my core program, and then I can always customize it depending on how a person needs it, because with my journey in particular, I love working on the mindset and the self-talk, that inner voice that talks to us. I shared in my story that yes, questions came to me, my self-talk came to me. And so I've learned through neuroscience, NLP, which is neuro-linguistic programming, as well as positive psychology, that when we get inside the story that we tell ourselves, which is our identity. So for me, when I look in the mirror and I ask, who is Lee Smith? There's a story that's going to come in my mind and tell me who I am. And then I need to look at that and say, is that a story that I am defining myself, or am I letting other people tell me who I am? Before, you know, it would have been, are other people tell me, oh, you're just a stay-at-home mom. Oh, you're just a housewife. Or am I a human being who actually has something amazing to contribute to the world? So when we get into that identity, and I love using the example of looking in the mirror at yourself. What do you see? So I have put together my coaching program. My method is called the Candy Method. And I say it's the Candy Method to design your sweet life, because you have only one life to live. So why let anybody else tell you how to live that life? It's yours, no one else's. Sure, your mom and dad may have brought you into the world, but you are the one carrying on that life. So when you can take charge of that and figure out what matters most to you, what do you love doing, and what are your gifts and your genius and your greatness inside that you can bring out into the world, that's what I work on. And so my Candy Method, it's 5 things, right? CANDY. So that's clarity, and that's figuring out, what do you want? Affirmation. We're really digging into that self-talk and looking at who you are and what you say to yourself. The N is necessity. So that's creating a sense of urgency, because once you have these 2 together, then you know what you want. It's time to get to work, and we want it faster, right? We want it sooner than later. The D is discipline, and that's looking at your habits. And I don't look at what are good habits and what are bad habits. No, I look at what habits are serving you and pulling you towards your goals, and what habits are holding you back. These are the ones where we find our limiting beliefs, and we experience procrastination or that hesitancy, the resistance towards what it is that we want. And then the Y is uniqueness. And like I mentioned just a few sentences ago, but it's about those 3 Gs, the gifts, the genius, and the greatness inside of you. And so I put that together in a 10-week program. and we work together one-on-one or in a group, whichever preference you have in your setting. And we spend 2 weeks on each of those elements. So when you come to me through my Upcycle Coaching, that's the name of my business, we take you right where you are and we say, where are you now? And we look at that point B, where is it that you want to go? And then we create a 90-day plan and we create the roadmap to get you from that A to B. And we use the candy method to get you there so that you have accountability, you have community, and you have the coach who is guiding you along. See, I don't have the answers for you. That's only you. But I know those answers are inside of you. I'm just the coach that helps you pull those answers out. We design that roadmap, and then I hold your feet to the fire to keep you action oriented and moving towards that. And then at the end of the 10 weeks, you are no longer that person you were who came to me. And then we continue forward from there. Then what do you want to see happen in the next 90 days? And we look at the bigger picture of where you want to go so that you are truly living your best life, your sweet life.
That sounds totally awesome. Since you are a coach, what really motivate your belief that keep you moving every day?
Yeah, for me, my motivating beliefs are, well, three. There's three of them. I believe that we are meant to be more and do more. It doesn't mean putting more on our plate. It means being the best version of ourselves, becoming better today than who we were yesterday. My second belief is that we are meant to live life to its fullest. Again, we have only one life, and it's so short. There are some days, absolutely, it feels long and we're thinking, how much more of this do I have? But when we can take control of our mindset and reframe our mindset and our habits and our integrity, then we can live that life to the fullest, where we're laughing, where we're feeling happiness and joy and excitement and fulfillment, knowing that we're doing something amazing. And then the last belief is that we have a superpower, each and every one of us. And that superpower is choice. We get to choose. How do I want to experience my day? How do I want to respond to an interruption, a distraction, or an incident that just happens that's completely out of our control? And that incident may be like, whoa, what just happened? Like everything that we experienced in 2020, right? So much of it was out of our control, but we have that superpower of how do I want to respond to that situation? So those are my three beliefs that get me out of bed and keep me moving every day.
And what would you say your favorite quotation would be?
When I was working with that joy and trying to figure out what I wanted to do with it, I went to a vision board workshop. And that's where you have this collection of magazines and you're thinking about, what do I want out of life? What do I want to see happening in my life? And you cut through the magazines. And as I was doing this workshop, I found this ad. And when I looked at these words, which has become not only my favorite quote, but my mantra, when I looked at it, I thought, these words are for me. And that is, well, it's for me, yes, but it's also to take out into the world and share it with the world. And that is, outside my comfort is my zone.
Oh, that's a pretty quote.
Isn't that great?
Yeah, you create that quote?
Everything we want is on the other side of our comfort zone, right?
Yeah.
So that means so much. When I think about that, oh, if it's something I don't want to do, if it doesn't feel comfortable, oh, wait a minute, outside my comfort is my zone. So take it, use it, it's awesome.
That's fantastic. So how do you really, play and keep your life and work balance? Because you're talking about how I guess it was a bit too much as a housewife. You just go day by day, and there are lots of people actually going through the same cycle. They get married and then they feel like they got stuck. Not that they don't love the family, but they kind of lost themselves. So how do you actually find time that you're an entrepreneur, public speaker, and a coach, and then have your family life as well?
Yeah, it's setting those priorities, right? It's what matters most to you. So it's knowing what matters most and then creating boundaries around what matters most. And so for me, with my work schedule, on certain, it's not an 8 to 5, so I don't have set hours per se, but I day by day, depending on what my commitments are, I keep it within a particular time frame of the day, and that is generally while my husband is at work. The kids have moved out of the house, so we're empty nesters, so I don't have to worry about kids tugging at me. But when it comes to my husband being home, then I want to spend that evening time with him where I can turn that part off of my brain. If there's anything weighing on me, I put it like in a shoebox in my mind, right? And I tuck it away and I say, I will open that box at such and such time. Maybe it's tomorrow morning, maybe it's after he goes to bed, but I stick that in the box because then I can keep my mind present and being with him. And I love to have fun. And I do that with going outside, or we find ways to laugh. You know, we mentioned in my introduction, at the time that I was telling you the beach story, my marriage was dying. My husband and I had grown so far apart, and I was really looking at the divorce route. And I had a moment where I said, I have to know I gave it my all before I call it quits. And there was a change that happened. And now that we've gotten past that and we've gotten into the healing and now we're completely revitalized, I love to laugh. I chose laugh as that word for my year, but now it's a word in my life. It's an activity and a behavior. So now how I have fun is thinking about, how can I make my husband laugh today? And so every single day I find a way to do it. And it brings me such joy. And I don't think of myself as a humorous person. And I'm not a comedian by any measure. You certainly don't want to see me on stage trying to tell jokes. Doesn't happen. In fact, when other people tell me jokes, I have a hard time remembering them. So I just come up with witty sayings, or I try to think in my mind when I'm with him, how can I make his day a really great day today? And just doing that. And when I'm with my friends, and even while I'm here with you, ladies and gentlemen, I hope as you're hearing this, that you're also getting my sense of joy and that I can bring a little bit of joy in you. And when I'm able to do that, that is what is so fun for me. And so I hope you find that even for you, even when there were days when I was doing the dishes, I'm thinking, doing dishes is not my favorite thing, but how can I find some joy in doing this? And it comes to a place of gratitude. What are you grateful for? Because not everybody gets to have the food that I have, and now I'm cleaning these dishes because of that food, right? And when I can think about, oh, I'm so thankful for this, and then I'm like, okay, I can't wait to be done with sudsing and cleaning this off now and moving on to the next thing. But that's where we can find that joy, whatever it is that you do. If you're a mom, if you're a student, if you're a wife, if you are an employee, if you're an entrepreneur, whatever it is, where can you make it fun? And where can you bring a little bit of joy into what you do? And what are you grateful for in doing what you do? So that's what I want to share there.
And would you say because you change your mindset, you become a happier self yourself, and you change kind of your mindset around your marriage? That's what revive your marriage, is because you love yourself, you have the joy, and so that your husband and your family can feel the joy. Was it part of the trouble that you're giving so much, but then they can see that you don't have joy? Was it part of the problem where you goes away, is that you feel like you give out so much, but then at the end doesn't feel the joy?
You are absolutely right, Vivian. You know, I had lost who I was. And because I was so empty inside, I had nothing to give to the family. And that created its own down cycle, right? A down cycle of just more emptiness and more numbness. And that set me into that depression. But as I upcycled myself, and that's how my name for my business came about, was when I started looking, well, yes, I had to look in the mirror and first love myself. myself, and more love that I pour into me, I can then pour into others. And you can do that too. And like Vivian said, that when you find that joy in your life and then you can spark that joy into other people's lives, it just, it starts to multiply. I'm trying to think of a metaphor. It just faster than you can imagine. And it's so wonderful to give, and it's so wonderful to receive. So yes, it was definitely a key part in that.
Yeah, it was like, how to say, people can feel your energy.
Yes.
It's like, so it doesn't matter that you have to be yourself happy, because if you want other people happy, you're just thinking you serve them. But if they don't feel your happy vibe, they will feel like, maybe you're not happy doing what you're serving. And then that would be add to the, you want to be positive serving them, but they feel negative because they feel bad about you being unhappy yourself, right?
Right.
And so it's really important that if you want to give, you first have to make yourself happy so people can feel your vibe.
Absolutely. You got it.
So I'm just wondering, what is 3 tips you will give our audience, if there's 3 tips that you want to give to your audience?
Absolutely. I love giving and serving. So I hope I have 3 tips that I want to share with you. And these are tips that I do touch on in my Candy method. So I hope you find them helpful. And the first one is the 2 most powerful words to attract what you want. And those 2 words, I am. Because whatever follows I am is vibration and frequency, and that vibration likes to attract like vibration. So I am joyful. What will I attract? I will attract those joyful things into my life. I am frustrated. What do you think is going to happen? And it's okay to feel the frustration. Don't get me wrong. There are days that are not so good days for me. And it's okay to feel those emotions, but you don't want to stay there, and you don't want to define yourself by those feelings. So you can say, I feel frustrated. That's okay. But you don't want to say, I am frustrated, because then it keeps you there. So I am, and then put the positivity after it. And when you say that again and again, and you allow yourself the feelings that go with that, then you will start attracting that, especially if you can keep that in a place of grateful. Like when you wake up in the morning after you hit the alarm, instead of, oh, another day. No, turn the alarm off and start saying, I am thankful I have another morning. I have another day I get to, and what is it that you get to do? It might be different for Vivian and different for me and different for you. So whatever it is, what is one thing that you can get excited about? And so thinking I am, and then putting those words there. So the second tip that I want to share with you is my mindset hack to get you back on track. I talked about how we use identity, the stories we tell ourselves, and setting intentions, because we have a choice, right? We talked about the superpower of choice. Do we let life happen to us, or do we create the life that we want? And here are 2 words. I love using words too. So here's what I have for you, and you can put these in your notes. Reactor. All right. And so as a reactor, you are living a life by convenience and circumstance. You're letting life happen to you. And you may feel stuck and overwhelmed and off track, and you feel like, oh, I just can't move forward. And there's all these distractions, and oh, what do I do? I'm overwhelmed. I'm in the middle of it all. And what the second word is creator. And creator means taking yourself out. You see yourself first. So you have clarity, and then you are committed to what matters most to you. So then you align the priorities, and then you take action on that one at a time. And now you are creating the day that you want to experience. What do you want your morning to be like? How do you want to feel as you go through your to-dos throughout the day? And then your evenings, when you're settling down and you're getting ready for the next day, how do you want your evenings to be? So now you move into the sleep and then you wake up the next day. How do you want that day to look like? So reactor, creator. So that mindset hack, when something isn't going the way that you want it to, because it happens all the time, right? So when that happens, you push yourself back, you take a breath, and you ask yourself, am I a creator or am I a reactor? And you put the switch, right? You're like, oh, I'm a creator. I just have to make this little tweak. Okay. Or you're like, oh, I'm a reactor, but I don't want to be a reactor. I want to be the creator. How can I create the next best step? So I hope that is super helpful. And then the third tip I have for you is the biggest key to mastering energy management. And it's with breath. Because when we think we're struggling with time management, it's really energy management. And how do we want to move through that particular task? When I am doing my tasks and using the Candy method, I've actually created a one-page planner, and I use it each day. And I set my intentions for each hour. I'll put a time and then I'll say, okay, for the next hour, this is the task that I'm doing. And then that's the focus that I put there. And that's managing my energy. And when I do that with breath, because we need to have transitions in between each activity. And so if we can take like 3 times just doing this quick breathing method, it will settle us, reset us, and get us ready for that next action. And that is to close our eyes for a moment, and we just take a breath and we let it out. And as we're breathing and we become aware of that breath, we just say the word release, release, release. And you're hearing me say it out loud, but really you just say it in your mind, release. And then you take a breath again, and you look at what's my next intention, and then you devote your focus to that. And when you use that properly, you will find that you're able to do more in less time. And at the end of it all, you're not exhausted. You feel fulfilled, and you're thinking, okay, we achieved a lot today. And now I'm going to decompress and enjoy my evening. So the 2 most powerful words, I am. The mindset hack to keep you on track. Are you a reactor or a creator? And then the biggest key to mastering your energy management is using release and breathing. I hope those are super helpful to you.
Wow, that was powerful tips. So if people want to contact you or stay in touch with you, how can they learn more about you?
Absolutely. If I would love to send this to you as a free gift, and so you can see a little bit of, have a sampler, right, of the Candy method. And that is to go to upcyclecoaching.com/yourbestday. And so that's UPCYCLE coaching.com/yourbestday. It will ask for your name and your email. And when you do that, you will not be spammed, I promise you. It just allows you to have a free gift. And that way I can stay in communication and share with you projects and events that I'm working on. I like doing workshops, and then you can also be invited into a call, and we can have a 30-minute call and go over your biggest challenges. And if you want to explore more about my coaching, because let me just say this, whatever it is that you want to achieve in life, I know you're probably wanting the best out of life. And when we think of all the people who pursue the best athletes, the best teams, the best CEOs, even people like Oprah, right? They all have coaches because they know there's stuff inside of themselves and they're capable, but a coach is going to help them get there better and faster and really exploring the best of themselves. So whatever it is, wherever you are in life, there are relationship coaches, there are health coaches, there are mom coaches, there are business coaches, there are mindset coaches like myself. And so whatever it is that you're wanting to get the best of, find a coach. And so if you're wanting help with your mindset and your self-talk, so you can break through fears and you can get out of that comfort zone and get into the Candy method in living your best life, I would be so honored to be your coach. And so I invite you to take advantage of this free gift. And then you can also find me on Instagram, and that's Instagram/upcycle.coaching. And I know Vivian's going to put these in the show notes too. So I look forward to hearing from you.
Oh, thank you so much for your time today to be on our show. Is there any last word, like a last thing, like you want to share with the audience?
Sure. One of my other mentors, Darren Hardy, he is the founder of Success Magazine. And so he features all the successful people in the business world and around the globe. And he said something that has just resonated with me. And I want to share that with you as you carry on. That as you're thinking about your dreams and your goals, here's what Darren said. He said, deep inside of you is an untamed and undeniable desire to be great. Let it out.
Wow, that's the perfect way to end this interview. And again, thank you, Lee, for your time to come to on my show and show, tell us about what you stand for and how you get to become who you are. Because I always feel it's matter how you get to where you are right now. People need to know what we went through to get here. Because none of us is, although we all unique, we're not like super special. We all have our own trauma and drama, but how do we survive that is a really great way to inspire other people to do the same. And I believe your story can inspire lots of people who is listening today. So thank you again for coming on the show. And with that said, bye everyone, and I will hope you guys can join us again in the next episode, and then we can learn more about how to tell your story in an effective way. Bye. See you guys.